Hello everyone, I'm Mike DeAngelo with That's Entertainment, and this is your Lost Gems review of Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy VII by Square Enix. One of Sony's swan songs coming into the video game industry was undoubtedly Final Fantasy VII. Without the massive backing that the company received from Square in 1997, the PlayStation may not have found the success that it did. When it did reap the rewards of that pairing, two more numbered Final Fantasy titles hit the system, as well as an offshoot called Final Fantasy Tactics. But, beyond that, nothing was ever explored in the Final Fantasy VII storyline or universe, until nearly 10 years later. In 2006, revisiting Final Fantasy VII became the in thing. Following the best-selling anime of the year, Advent Children, Dirge of Cerberus was set to make waves of its own. But, sometimes, more is needed to drive success than just a popular name. Dirge of Cerberus follows one of the more mysterious characters of Final Fantasy VII fame, the dark-natured Vincent Valentine. Taking place after all the other events in the Final Fantasy VII compilation, this game was meant to put an endnote in Vincent's story, in much the same way that Advent Children had brought Cloud's story to closure. However, the events of Dirge of Cerberus begin during the chaotic moments of its prequel, when Midgar is being evacuated. Vincent sees Hojo, the scientist responsible for Sephiroth's madness and creation, dead near one of the city's mega cannons. Despite his long-lasting vendetta with the scientist, Vincent almost seems regretful of Hojo's death. Jumping 3 years forward, the city of Calm is under attack by a group of soldiers called Deep Ground. Luckily, Vincent is nearby and able to aid some of the citizens. Others are ruthlessly slain. As the story continues, certain events from the past are revisited, tying into the most important question of all: can Vincent keep the planet from being destroyed? In a wide departure from all previous games in the Final Fantasy series, Dirge of Cerberus appears as a third-person shooter with RPG elements. While this suits the gun-wielding main character's personality, it doesn't necessarily jive well with the game itself. For one, the pacing of the action is offset by the awkward over-the-shoulder aiming and the time it takes to accurately line up a shot. Strategy doesn't win over running in guns blazing either, though the latter ends up leaving a good deal of the game up to luck. The RPG elements don't fare much better. You acquire experience and gil, which can, in turn, be used to upgrade or buy components for weapons in a manner similar to another Square title, Parasite Eve. However, what worked in that game just feels clunky in Dirge of Cerberus. In addition, the gameplay manages to break the elegant simplicity of the original Final Fantasy VII system. Some of the things that can't be too criticized in Dirge of Cerberus are the stunning visuals. These are most notably seen during the game's cutscenes, but a lot of the in-game visuals also express the quality of its presentation. However, not everything works flawlessly. As said before, the aiming in the game is painful. Sometimes because Vincent himself feels like he is in the way of the camera, and sometimes because the enemies blend so well with the hectic background of the locales. The music is powerful, though none too memorable. Still, it will have you thinking of Vincent in the hero role. The voice work is flexible, sometimes sounding weak in delivery, and other times feeling confident in its portrayal. The sound offers nothing too impressive with its inclusion, but doesn't deter from the game either. Unfortunately, for gamers outside of Japan, a multiplayer mode was dropped from the game before it expanded globally. Besides that, the only thing to look forward to in an effort to extend the life of the game are the multiple difficulty levels and the rankings that you get after clearing a stage. Whereas Final Fantasy VII thrived in an open world, Dirge of Cerberus narrows things down too far to be enjoyed nearly as much. Square Enix is not necessarily known for taking risks. Lately, they've been doing it more frequently, but 4 years ago, the concept of Dirge of Cerberus would have been unfounded. Sometimes, risks pan out successfully, as Square's latest Final Fantasy endeavor clearly shows. Other times, things manage to fall flat, and Dirge of Cerberus, while not terrible, is closer to that end of the spectrum. Regardless, as a standalone game, this one is perhaps one worthy of a look. but Final Fantasy fans should not get their hopes up in finding a masterpiece hidden away here. That's Entertainment awards Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy VII, a score of 7.5 out of 10.